Recently I was able to review the advanced suit here by Core Figs. Of course, you get the main hero from that game and you want some of the villains, and LEGO has done a pretty good job of giving us some options for that. Or even going a bit further, you could kind of throw together some purist options for some of the other things going on in the game. This figure has some custom parts though. But for me personally, I already have the custom Spider-Man here, and I might as well go a bit further with some custom Venom figures to go with the Spider-Man. These Venom figures were made by Jin and feature some really nice packaging with these tins. Open them up, and they don't have the usual plastic bags. They have some fabric to protect the figure just because it is a bit bulkier. This one here, you can see I have Anti-Venom, and then in the other one is the one that I'm more excited about, being the metallic blue, purplish, ultimate style Venom here. So let's get into these a little bit further. Both of the containers had the same cloth, and both have slightly different colored cards to mark what number you have out of the main number being 60. For Anti-Venom I have 34, and then I have 23 for the normal Venom. They do use the same molds with the stringy Venom symbiote parts coming out. And then there was a base figure that was black that didn't have those, which would have still been a nice option, but I do think for Anti-Venom especially, having the tendril sticking out is more interesting. And even for this more purpley one, I think it's still a good look. Just starting off, we'll look at Anti-Venom here, which just shows off this really great mold that they came up with, adding a nice bit of bulk to the figure overall. It's kind of funny, it is just a Lego set of legs and then the torso, no arms connected there, and it just kind of slides over the head. For this one especially, not a lot of friction, it's just going to come off. Just maybe better so you can swap out the torso and legs a bit if you want to for more customization. There's a lot of nice articulation as well, where you can move the arms outwards and then move them up and down like a normal Lego figure. The hands also rotate and have a little bit of printing for the web shooter, whatever you would call it, for the symbiote characters. Same sort of setup on the other side. Looks like this arm is a little bit tighter than this one. This one is actually kind of loose. You can even see that the molds are different on both sides with the tendrils sticking out at different points. So it's nice to see that they didn't just mirror it to the other side. I think the same goes for the hands, even where they might be slightly different. You know what, they are actually probably the same hands, just mirrored, which probably better. One downside though, hands aren't able to actually grip anything since they are just kind of open. They're not the normal like bar width, so a little unfortunate there. Even just having an anti-stud on the inside or something to stick a stud on would have been nice, but I guess they're going a lot more for just a look here. You can see right here, just kind of, that arm is flopping a lot, which is a bummer. Outside of the arms though, the head is also movable, where you can rotate it a bit. It is on a bit of a ball, so you can have it look up a bit, but for the most part it is just going to kind of rotate. Looking at it from the side, it looks a little bit goofy as you're rotating it. I'm noticing that the tongue is also a separate part that moves around. When you kind of look at the back of the head, you can see where the red is. So if you don't position the head in the right place for a photo, you'll be able to see the inside of the mouth and tongue. Printing though looks nice. You can see the eyes are really the only thing that's a different color. Everything else is just the molded plastic with the red and then the white, the black. There are some splotches I've been noticing around the different parts of the body. They're not super noticeable, so that's great. Not noticing any like white showing through the black, which is also really awesome. It's kind of nice. The spider logo is a raised part of the mold, not just printed, and that adds to the premium feeling of the product. It's also really cool. I really like the way that the black for the eyes really wraps around the top of the head. I think that's a very cool and interesting look. And you know what? That's all that there is for Anti-Venom. Let's jump into the normal Venom. And for this figure, it's going to be a lot of the same from what I just said, where it is going to be the exact same mold, different tendrils on both arms. I'm noticing on this figure, though, that it is a lot more stiff, and that's just probably because the metallic coat that's over it adds a little bit of thickness to the joints. And I'm worried in the long run, if you're posing this a lot, you're going to scrape off some of that metallic blue eventually. So got to be a little bit more careful with this one. But again, with the head rotation, it's stiffer. So got to watch out. And I noticed it's not actually the same mold, and maybe it's just because this copy of mine just wasn't molded right, but you can see it's not as pointed there where it is on the Anti-Venom. So that's interesting to see. I wonder if it is intentional or if it is a molding error of some sort. I do think I like this version better just because the white stands out a lot more, and I don't know, this is just classic Venom. This is what I'm looking for a version of this character. The Lego one just doesn't really cut it, you know, it's nice and small, the exact same size as Spider-Man, and to me, Venom should be big like this. So it's really cool to have a very awesome version of this character in my Lego collection now, especially one that has a little bit of extra posability, so you can kind of have him reaching out at Spider-Man, about to lunge, just because both of these characters turn off his spider sense, so he could really sneak up behind him. So that's really cool. I do like the added posability. Adds a little bit of character to this figure. I'll say it might have been nice to have an extra head of some sort, so you could have one with the tongue, one without the tongue, but I do think having the tongue option is going to be better than just a normal head. So if this is the only one that they could do, glad they went with that. But with that being said, let's get on into the final verdict. And like always, it's always fun to put together some different custom figures that fit together in the theme. So I have a bunch of Spider-Man figures here, the official Kraven, official Sandman, so just a couple other characters that happen to appear in the new Spider-Man 2 game to go with the advanced suit there. Plus another fun little comparison is the MRM symbiote Spider-Man I have here that's in that metallic purple. This is a bit darker than the one that Jin did here, but they do fit together pretty well, so it's fun to have both of those. And it's always nice to see some cool innovation. I haven't gotten one of these figures that are like mid-figures, I guess you would call them. I think the added posability of the arms, it's not super Lego, but I think it adds to the options for displaying these. You can have them in different poses and positions, and I think that's going to be very fun for a bigger villain like this. You can have him just being large and imposing. I'm very excited to see what other kind of bigger figures they have like these. I do have their Swamp Thing pre-ordered, which might be the same sort of articulation scheme here. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see when I get it. But two really cool figures that are very unique. Lots of great posability, great detailing with the molds and all that. And it's very cool to get something with that nice metallic sheen. Looks pretty cool, especially now that I have the two different symbiotes there. And we'll see what other sort of Spider-Man figures come out. I'm very excited to get more comic options. I'm not always a big MCU collector. I think comics are where it's at, and they always have much better character designs. But let me know which of the two is your favorite. I am leaning towards the normal Venom, but it's fun to get an Anti-Venom figure since Lego will probably never get to it. If you want to see more custom Marvel videos or custom Lego videos overall, check out all the videos on my channel. I've been Brooke Radiop. I'll see you in the next video.